We welcome you to this week's Rays of Hope program, and we're very glad that you have joined us today. As usual, we hold conversations that are meant to inspire courage, resilience, but most importantly, hope. We would like also you to know that you can follow this program. You can stream live, you can follow live on Facebook and on YouTube. That is CAC TV Kenya. Again, I say karibu, and we're very glad that you're here today. This week, we have a special focus on the men's ministry, the men ministry in the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. And this is the department known as the Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship. And so the focus is on men and ministry. And that's why today we are focusing on the theme, resolve to serve. Resolve to serve as it regards to men and family. We're very happy today to be joined by a great panel. And I will introduce them briefly as they say hello to us. We have the current director of the Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship, and that is none other than Reverend Henry Kaira, who also happens to be the president of the Pan-African Men Fellowship. Please say hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Reverend. And next to him, we have the Reverend Dr. Charles Kibicho, former director of PCMF. He's also the former chairman of NCCK. He has also served as the Deputy Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. And currently, he is also the head of theology at the Presbyterian University of East Africa, known as POEA. Please say hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Next to me, we have the Reverend Ngere HN, the moderator of the PCA St. Andrew's session. And perhaps for our viewer, it's good to let you know that there are many moderators at different levels. And because we're here to educate also, just to know that on the first level, we have the moderators of the CAC sessions. That is more or less the parish councils. And so Reverend Gere leads the team at PCA St. Andrew's Parish. At another level, we have the moderators of the presbyteries. And in PCA, we have 56 of them. So we have 56 moderators. And then at the top, where we have the General Assembly, we have one moderator of the GA. Now you know. And so Reverend Gere is also a consultant in the area of retirement, leadership development, and life skills. Reverend Gere is also an author, and perhaps he'll tell us more as we continue the conversation. He's also an author of books like the one I'm holding is Reflection on Retirement and Related Factors. Karibu sana, Reverend. Kindly say hi.
Jambo viewers and also my host for having me here this day.
Wonderful. And so without further ado, allow me to read a passage that is guiding the week where we focus on men and the ministry in the church. And that is drawn from Joshua 24, verse 14 and 15. Joshua 24, verse 14 and 15. And I read, "Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods your forefathers worshipped beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your forefathers served beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." That last part is important for us. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Dear panelists, and I'll start with Dr. Kibisho. Looking at this verse, what comes to your mind in the context of men and ministry and even the season that we are in when we read this verse?
This passage is so important because the moment you venture into it, you meet a man in this portion called Joshua. And Joshua, we are aware that he was mentored by Moses. For 40 years, they were in the wilderness. And he became a harborman, a great leader who was careful to watch in order to embrace the leadership that Moses depicted in his life. So what Joshua is doing, he has lived for many years. The Bible tells us that Joshua lived for about 110 years. And now he is aware that he is dying. If you read the portion, it tells us that even people knew that Joshua was of age and he was dying. Before he left, he had to counsel the Israelites. His counsel is framed in a manner of calling upon the Israelites to choose whom they were going to keep watching and worshipping. They must be careful to worship God. Earlier on, they are told, you choose. There are three kinds of gods. Abraham watched some gods sometime near the river Euphrates. They could choose, like Abraham had chosen. Again, there were gods that the Israelites were able to observe in Egypt when they lived there as slaves. Again, where they are now living, the gods of the Amorites. So there are those three gods from three different places. But they are also supposed to choose whether they were going to worship the true God, Jehovah, the living God. So a very clear call, invitation to choose. No wonder the topic here, the theme is resolve to serve. So Joshua is saying before he dies, he would rather that the Israelites make a choice. Whom are they going to worship? The whole question of choice is very, very important, because if they did not choose to worship the real God, then they would forfeit the promise of the land. And you know, this promise had conditions. The condition was obey. When they obey, they'll enjoy the land. Failure to obey God, they would lose that promised land. So, a man called to make a choice whom to serve.
Wow, a man called to make a choice whom to serve. What do you hear, Remgere, in this verse?
Well, thank you. And even for my colleague here and my mentor, Reverend Bishop. Life comprises a lot of decision making. Looking at Joshua, he started as a follower and faithfully followed to the advice and the counsel of his mentor. And the one thing that defined him is the whole question of obedience. Because many a times when you are a deputy to somebody, there comes a time some people may feel like they are more superior than their seniors. But Joshua demonstrated a character who followed faithfully until when his time came. And that's upon the demise of Moses. And he took over. And he continued making declarations, because he was obedient with Moses, and as a result of being obedient, even when he took over, other people could follow his example. If you look at the whole book of Joshua, like from chapter 1 to chapter 12, whereby they are crossing the Red Sea and they are doing a lot of conquest, the people could listen to Joshua, because earlier he had demonstrated the issue of following. And even upon taking the leadership, and he is making, because where we have our theme, where we are talking about resolve to serve, it was his final speech. It's like an old man, parting shot. I've been doing this, and he actually came up in Hadi for me and my family. he was so candid that he could talk on the behalf of the family because he had already laid solid foundation. And therefore, as we talk about resolve to serve, not so much what you say, but what you have demonstrated. Following Moses, and now you have led these people now, and now in the midst of the confusion, now you are in another land altogether, where there are many gods. He could now bring them together and tell them, I think I'm the example. That is rare that we have leaders who can say, look at me. But we thank God because of several characters. Well, Bible is a big story with several characters. And we thank God that this theme could not have come better time than now. And especially defining men, resolve who to serve. But for me, categorically, candidly, look at me and my family. Having a family that's the role model. Men, we are being called upon. Can your family, usually whenever you go for a burial, and you are burying an old man, you see people, when family is called upon to be prayed for, people come to see, and they connect. That son is like the father. That daughter is like a father. Because we have to lead from the front. That's my take.
Wow, very, very profound. Following, taking cognizance of the authority, and being an example. Wow, that's profound. Rev Kaira,
Yes.
as you tell us what comes to your mind, I would also want you to start by telling us briefly, what is PCMF? Why PCMF? Why can't you just be in church and contented?
Okay, thank you. Lovely. Thank you, my colleague panelists. In this great conversation. And as we always refer to Reverend Dr. Kebicho, he has been our mentor. And I would begin by saying the Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship is one among the core ministries in the church, initiated way back in the late 90s, whereby the coming together of men as a united Christian force so that they can have the synergy together. They can serve God with proper guidelines. Because when we are not united, we lose part of the potential we have. And we count many scores. With our mentor here, who was a former director in this journey, we note the Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship is a united Christian force of men. One, for faith. For without faith, we cannot praise God. So we build, by our interactions, we grow our faith. Faith is central. Secondly, our core responsibility is our witness. We are ambassadors wherever we are, right from home, through the church, even to the society. And thirdly is about service. Service. And you see now, coming to where Joshua as a leader is talking about, I've journeyed, I've walked, I've been mentored by Moses. I've been together with you. I was with Caleb when we were sent as spies on a covenantal mission. For God is a God of covenant. Even when I'm about to leave, I've been a man of influence. And so here I would say, the resolve of Joshua speaking to us in our times is like, at our levels of leadership as men, even women, we should remember leadership is influence. And we influence best when we are emulated through the character, through the way we live. For action speaks rather than the words. And so Joshua had lived that life. He's a role model. And here I will remark and say, our influence should come from taking responsibility. Men should be men of responsibility. Secondly, we should have the initiatives. The initiative of giving guidance and direction. Thirdly, we should be leaders who lead sacrificially. Joshua did not lead by the very selfish ambition. We'll be realizing this as we journey on. And also, our leadership and our responsibility should be aimed at loving faithfully. He had a concern for the family. He is loving the family and even the people of God. And finally, at the end, leave a legacy. Leave indelible marks. And that's why he is re-emphasizing. Even at my verge of leaving you, and now you are entering the promised land, remember to leave a legacy.
Living a legacy. And before I come to Reverend Ngere, I'd like to ask Reverend Dr. Kibicho. You're dressed in a certain way, so I'm curious. I can see there's a badge there. There's some maroon. I also tried a bit.
Okay.
Yes.
So what does this mean, and what steps do men take to belong?
Yeah, it was really organized that men enter into this fellowship that the director has mentioned in order for you to be able to have that faith, witness, and serve. There are some implements that you put on, like the coat I am on, it is red or maroon. In other words, it has a meaning. I'm in a blue trouser. Again, blue for us is, we are saying, you can work, you can serve God, and the limit is up there. Heaven can be the limit. So blue is very important for the men. With the maroon, of course, this is red. You see our blood, that blood of the man is so important. And normally we have a white shirt. You have in a white shirt. Again, righteousness. So that man is called upon to be righteous, to emulate God. We normally also have a badge, and a badge has the shape of a heart, where the man has to make sure that shelter is important for the family. You know, there are men who don't mind about shelter. They leave their families that way. But PCMF, men mind about where their people sleep, how they sleep, are they warm in the homes? That is crucial for the man. Again, we have like a big attire that we make sure that the man is seen as the head of the family. So there are those things that identify man as a PCMF person. Yeah, we took time to make sure that we organize for that. And very important, we need to say, when we put them on, we are able to join other groups. Is it during ordination of a minister? Is it during the Guild Sunday? Is it during the Christian education? Men come with the uniform to make sure that as a man we support these other groups. We wanted to identify ourselves conspicuously that we are with the groups.
Beautiful. You want to add something?
Yes,
Director?
and thank you, Dr. Kibicho, you have put it very well. And going further, you may see even Reverend Ngere is wearing a man casual
Yeah, I can see the badge here.
Yeah, the badge is there.
Yeah.
We realize men at times love to relax and go out there when they are not very formal. So what Dr. Kibicho was explaining is when you are very formal, when you are light in the worship service, but when we want also to be a bit informal, relaxed, we introduce the men's casual shirt with a bit of the touch of the maroon. The badge is there, and you go out even your retreats well relaxed. The badge also reminds us of the entry of a sanctuary. When you are getting to the church, if you check the gate, men are gatekeepers. They should remember going through the gate to the house of the Lord. And also, when tilted upside down, although it has corners, it represents the heart. Is you begin with the altar, you are personal, you are soul. Then you go to the family, the where he was talking about the family. Man should be mindful about the family. Then it goes now to the gathering of the faithful. And lastly, you find today, since we are more clerical, men wear the tie. And the tie reminds us the night of the Passover, when the Israelites were commissioned. They are preparing for the Exodus. And men had to tie the belt. And since we are in south of Sahara here, rather than putting on the cassock and the belt, we prefer the tie. And it's also part of reminding our call as soldiers of Christ, put on the full armor of God. When we are in these uniforms, it's like you are a soldier of Jesus Christ, and you need to put on the helmet of salvation. You put on the breastplate of righteousness, the white shirt. Then the tie reminds you of the belt of truth. In your shoes, you are ready for the gospel. All these, and finally, you take the sword of the Spirit, the word of God. Yeah.
And that's why you sing Akinieta, Nitaitika. Rev Ngere, Rev Kaira has left at the point where he talked about the need for legacy. And I'm just wondering, the kind of things that people are chasing now, and men in particular, and we see a lot of corruption going on around us and all that, and we know who is on the front line. Mainly it's men, na si kuwaonea. But there's this question of materialism. How do we counter that now from what we are reading in Joshua?
Thank you very much. Even as we go through the whole question about Joshua, the word man, the acronym, is maintain all needs.
Maintain
all needs.
All needs.
And therefore there is the need to demystify the man so that he may fit in all areas. And in our context here, as we talk about resolve to serve, there is the need for a man. And that's why no wonder he has mentioned about the uniform that we are wearing. It's the whole question of demystifying the cashew that I'm wearing today, so that it may fit to everyone. Because when you are heavily dressed at all time, with the tie, with the coat, especially with the youngsters, they may look at you and find this is an officer, this is somebody that I cannot go closer. And I'm telling you, there is a big challenge among the men, and especially bear in mind the position that men are holding in our society, because everything is related with the men. And how to go about it in terms of the material. Like when it comes now to the parenting, right from the beginning, there is the whole question of the absent father. Present but absent in the name of looking for the wealth. And men need to demystify the whole question of looking for the wealth and work smart and smarter. So that they should not be so lost in the name of looking. And especially, I'll talk one issue about the health. That sometimes in the name of looking for the wealth, you end up eating up your health.
Hey, Rev, that is very deep. And I want us to continue with that. But for now, we want to take a break. Then when we come back, we'll hear about the wealth. They should not eat into the health. And I want to hear that more. But for now, we'll take a short break. But before then, kindly watch this clip.
When you love faithfully, it's not about competition. It's about complementing one another. Yes. And love is always about the mutual way of love and respect. When you give, you also take from her. She also takes from you. And that mutuality, the faithfulness in love, gives the two-way traffic, and where there is unity, God commands a blessing.
Thank you, Director. I think love is a very wide subject, but basically, when you love your wife, she really respects you so much. She gives you time to think. She gives you time to go and bring whatever can be able to add to improve the lives of your family. So it is important, men, to make sure that that love is, it is very, very strong, very deep.
Not cosmetic.
Not cosmetic.
Not a bit of drama.
And, most likely, and well, we say that actions speak louder than words. not keep on saying that I love you, and the actions don't portray what you are saying. And I think whoever said that was a very, very brilliant person. The last one is leaving a legacy. What will you do when you move out of this world? You must leave a legacy that will be shared by many generations to come. Our children, our grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren, they will look at the Aguka. What did he do? We started with a 10 by 10 room in Eastleigh when you got married, way back in 1983, 84, 83. It was 10 by 10. But God has been very, very, very faithful to us. We have had our own challenges, but I think everybody feels that we have, and also humility in life. What God has given you, be very, very humble in whatever you do. That does not belong to you, it belongs to God. And service to our church. God will always give back what you give.
The Bible should play the most important role in the life of a Christian regarding making decisions, major or minor. God gave humankind a freedom of choice between numerous possibilities, but the basic choice is between good and evil. Bibles are now available at the PCA head office bookshop, South C, Nairobi. We have Bibles available in English, Kiswahili, and Kikuyu. Make your purchase today. For more information, call 0722 205051. The much-awaited Presbyterian Church Men's Fellowship PCMF Mission Week 2020 is finally here, guided by the theme from Joshua 24:15, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord."
God initiated families, yet families have many diversities.
All through the week, starting from Monday the 2nd of November, tune in to CAC TV for early morning devotions and later on in the evening from 8 to 9 p.m. for engaging programming that will showcase the man and his service to God and family. The moderator of the 22nd General Assembly, Dr. Julius Gwantai Mwamba, will officially launch the Mission Week at the PCA headquarters in South Sea, Nairobi on Monday the 2nd, starting from 9 a.m.
Welcome to the Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship PCMF Mission Week 2020.
The launch of the PCMF Mission Week 2020 will be broadcasted live on CAC TV.
Welcome back to the second half of the Rays of Hope program, and today we're having a great conversation. This is the PCMF Week, Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship Week. So the focus is on men, and today with this great panelists, we are talking about resolve to serve. And we've had great insights. We went for break at the point where Reverend Gere was talking about the need to take care even as we pursue wealth, even as we want to gain materially. And he said something very profound, that some people are compromising their health as they pursue wealth. Tell us more about that.
Thank you once again, that even as we desire to maintain all the needs within the family, because everything revolves where the man is in terms of providing. We have some scenarios whereby people are messing up and compromising their health in the name of looking for the wealth. That somebody can go the whole day even without eating because you are looking for the wealth. And many a times you don't even take time kupigia mwili pole on your own, because the needs are there. You have a family to cater for, you have some bills to cater for, and you have come to realize that in the name of looking for the wealth, some people end up living very essential issues they should do to themselves, and you go missing food. You don't know even the consistency in terms of balancing, and surely you end up getting a lot, because even in the Bible it is written that the great man is the one who leaves wealth to the children of the children. Because men sometimes they are dictated by that what shall I leave to my people? And in the process, they end up even suffering in the name of accumulating. And actually, the unique thing that usually happens, you end up accumulating a lot, and by the time you come to the retirement, because you have really sacrificed a lot, for sure, like now, we know in our country, men wake up very early in the morning because of the jam. You leave before others in the house. You come back after everybody even asleep. And you might end up missing even the very basic. And for sure, we have seen men that by the end of their working life, they have accumulated a lot, but at the expense of their health. And then upon the retirement, the health start eating that wealth, because you are between hospital and your home. And the equation, by the end of the day, the health will eat the wealth, and you are left at zero. And therefore, there is the need, as we do all what we are doing and acquiring, you remember yourself and being with the family as a man. At the same time, the godliness is very, very important. That we should not go extreme, strike the balance, so that you may enjoy that retirement. Retirement is a gift that you give to yourself. It's very unfortunate that men have done a lot. They have educated their sons and their daughters. They are known to have empires and the businesses and all this. But upon the retirement, you see somebody going down, down, down. You don't enjoy. So therefore, we need to work very smart. This Joshua that we are talking about, the reason why he is so candid to mention about the family, because he had laid a solid foundation. And some people upon the retirement, they don't have even safeguarding within their families. Because in the name of looking for the wealth, they were not at peace with anybody. In the name for looking for the wealth. And then you acquire, and you'll be known even in your community to be somebody. And I know ministers, you are here, people that are known to have acquired a road, but the end is disastrous. So one has to be very careful about your wealth and your health. You should strike that very delicate balance. That's my take.
And that's a resolve that we should. I can see it, Daktari.
We also want to remember there's something we can carry from Joshua. At the time when they were occupying the parcels, the pieces that they were given in the land, Joshua was the last person to pick his piece. He was not in a hurry to occupy. He allowed other people to occupy. So it is important for men to be able to copy a man of this nature, who is not hungry, who is not in a hurry to accumulate. He waited until everybody picked theirs. These days, people like my brother has said, are really picking everything, everywhere. And in the time of picking, they have no time for the family. Time management is poor. There is no emulating. Children cannot emulate a father in that kind of format. So we must be careful. Just like Abraham, again, you remember when Abraham was with Lot. Again, when their flock increased, at the time when the workers started accusing one another, almost fighting, Abraham stood and said, you, Lot, choose the area you want to pick. And Lot chose the area that looked good, rich. And Abraham was left on the area they thought was the poorest area with its stones, and later on blessings were there. So men must be able to choose to to be humble, to wait, because blessings are after. They come after when we have been able to choose. That's an area that we need to encourage men that make sure that money does not overtake you. Because money, resources, and when you go, you even don't know who is going to use them. You don't know how long they are going to be used by the family. Sometimes they are used in a minute. There's nothing. And the family again is in equals, in challenges. So money or resources should not be above our health, our daily lives. Money should be a vehicle to help us just to operate life, but not to tower over our lives.
Wow, and that's profound. I was just thinking that you see this season we've been going through, where people have been forced to face each other in the family and all that. I think that should give us a glimpse of how the retirement is said to be. So if you have not spent good time, you've not invested, people have been having conflicts because they're strangers to one another. And that's why we've been having all these domestic issues and all that. Rev Kaira.
Yeah, I find this really giving us another great trajectory on we should not aim to invest only for. We should invest in the values. And that which we have acquired justly, with justice, would mean a lot, whether it's retro. But when we amass and you can step on everybody, anybody to acquire, you don't care. I want to tell us, before the eyes of God, that will not give us blessings. And as Dr. Kibisho has said, Joshua is a role model. Although they went for the first expedition to spy the land, they came back with Caleb. And even when Caleb is giving a reminder in what God said in the hearing of Moses, what they were to get, Joshua as a leader is patient. Anatuliza bori, let me speak this language of let's not give ourselves the overdrive. We are in a world of great competition today. It's like I want to compete right, left, and center with the other, and I will not care what values I'll live or I'll really express when acquiring. And so I would love, we get the challenge, the resolve to serve God even through our material things. As Paul was writing to Timothy and encouraging young Timothy, that's another line of mentorship. That's 1 Timothy 6:6. Godliness with contentment is a great gain. He knew this time when Timothy was to serve is like our time, when there is a lot of competition and not minding how you gain your material status. And so we need it. It's not bad to grow, because there's a process. Even the younger generation, we tell them, Rome was not built in a day. We need to go gradually and with God's blessing, so that will leave a legacy.
If I'm turned, and I think having Joshua being the person that we are discussing, there is a lot to pick up. Because he was not alone. I was thinking about Joshua. He was a family person, and he had only daughters. He never had a son. Even them that he is calling upon is the mother and the daughters.
That's profound, Rev.
Even though we are talking about now men fellowship here, there's another angle here. Joshua was a father to daughters. And she's calling upon the daughters and the mother. And now he is presenting them to be a role model. That for me, and he could actually dare to talk on their behalf. They are not young people. But if you have laid a strong foundation to your family, even whatever the age that you'll be in, because you know this theme is parting short. He was saying the final speech, like the old man, the old man always. And I think we should desire, even sometimes some people get sick and even at the bed, at the hospital bed, you hear the ones, people who are dying peacefully. And we should desire as men, what is this that can define you? Because in the entire book of Joshua, one of the most popular fasts is for me and my family. And we should desire, even as we acquire our material things, and you know, Joshua was a very strategic person. And even as we talk about, because there's another life, after the many years of working, there is another life. And now you're enjoying that one, Dr. Bishop. I'm not yet there. You can talk of the active years, and now you are retired. And what makes people to grow old graciously? And they are getting stronger because of real strong foundation. And they are satisfied with the retro or the march that they have. But in the name of acquiring a road, people are acquiring a road. No wonder that's why the director is reminding us that, together with my mentor here, he was the last person to take his portion. Look in our society. The leaders, like now even with the current BBI 2, I was wondering where is Wanjiku? But you find leaders, they want the top. Joshua is leading by example. First take, what remains, I'll take.
Profound. Reverend Dr. Kibisha, we are in a generation that is, we can basically say it's a pop generation. We want things very fast. Microwave. Everything's happening so fast. In fact, nowadays, reading an email is a lot of work. People want short messages. Things pop. And you alluded to the fact that there is need to resolve to obey. That's having that spiritual sanity. Because what we are saying is very good, but how comes we cannot actualize it? So how do we anchor ourselves?
Normally, what we need to remember is that Joshua is saying, make a clear choice. There are clear choices that must be made, because some of the choices that we are making don't help us at all. And just like my brother was saying, Joshua, he had a family, yes, but he spoke more even of the military aides, his military aides, the elders, the leaders, as a representative. So he was bringing them into the spiritual realm. Mainly, all these things that are happening is because the heart is thirsty. The heart is not with God. I do remember Joshua is telling them, just in case you do not obey, this gift is not going to be a gift. The anger of God is going to burn against you so that you lose the land. So these days, that movement into the ICT and the technology and leaving God, and He has nowhere in our lives. We don't mind, we don't care, we have no room. So that is taking a lot of that which is supposed to be given to God. So people have no room for God. Just like when Jesus was born, and the question was, everybody occupied the rooms that were there. And these days people are occupying those areas that you are talking about. They occupy. And good time, resting, sleeping, going, but they do not have room for God. So that's the biggest challenge. What we need to do is to appropriate, to allow God to occupy our lives in obedience. Because I realize that this portion is greatly talking about the Israelites obeying God so that the covenant can come to fruition. They will miss it. And these days, we are not careful about the covenant we have entered. Through baptism, through confirmation, through salvation, through our own agreements and witness as to how we are going to live. We have left it. Not just here, but in the whole world. No wonder things like COVID-19 and these things that are coming our way, you never know that the promises of God sometimes can be conditional. sometimes we don't think they are conditional. So people are hurried in the present world, but it is God who will matter in our lives today. We have witnesses, we have people who have walked with God from their youth, and we see them blessed, standing firm, and that's what we need. And the man, Joshua, can be an example for us. Yes.
So it's a matter of the heart as well.
The heart, yes.
As we make these resolves,
Yes.
it's not possible. So that's a very important resolve that we must make, Rev Kaira.
Yes, sure. As this part of our spiritual sanity, and Joshua is giving us a clear model of a man with the right decisions, the right choice, even at the verge of departure. And I know this one challenges all of us in a world which is running at a very high speed. We need also to remember the formula is first seek the kingdom of God and the righteousness of God. They are God's standards. Yes, we can put our standards, yes, but that which should regulate us is God's standards. First seek the kingdom. So here is like he's bringing us again, we should have God's kingdom values. We should be dictated by the kingdom values. We normally say, thy kingdom come. Then, which is this kingdom? Is it the other worldly kingdom where the things of the spirit are choked and we no longer have a vertical connection such that we would leave that good legacy and mind the generation which is coming? We will not have eaten everything, and even Dr. Kibishu, you always tell us, and in retirement you say the older age enjoys the younger age. You invest very well, and this investment should not only be material, should also be even in values, kingdom values.
Thank you.
In the question,
And I think that's what the emphasis is, that we should desire to get our priority right.
Exactly.
Looking at the founder of the Republic of India, Mahatma Gandhi, who said that this world has enough resources for everyone who live on it. However, that's a rider. It is not enough for one greedy person. If you acquire all
I would love to hear that again.
Say that again.
About
that this world has enough resources for
For everybody.
It's
who
Mahatma
live
Gandhi.
on the
Yes.
service. However, it's not enough
For
for one greedy
person.
person. And as a man, whichever means that you use to acquire, remember, if it's not in line with God's will, it will hurt you and hurt your family. It's very unfortunate that in our society today,
Very unfortunate.
some of the people name withheld with a lot of wealth, they are not enjoying. The families are in languish. Because by the end of the day, it's the family. Family is the base. That you are defined by your family. And whoever, even heroes and the heroines, we trace them by their families. And Joshua here, bringing in the aspect of the family institution, that's our bedrock.
Yeah.
That wherever you are, because there are many forums that bring people together. Being it in the institution of running, being it in the church, in the society, in the whole country. By the end of the day, we trace you by your
By
family.
your family.
And that's why resolve to serve
To serve.
and start in Jerusalem.
And Doctor, thank you very much. Dr. Kibisha, I want you to talk about now that the importance of family and inculcating godly values in the family, like what Joshua was doing to the daughters, to the wife, the need for mentorship, the need to invest in
The family.
and not for.
Exactly.
Please.
Yeah. Mainly, we are saying that home is a very important center for the family. And the man must be found at home. That is where the man, the young boy is, that's where the girl is, and the man must be present. what the man is missing is the whole question of being the priest at the home. We need the man to bring those activities that are done in church must be transported into the family by the man as the priest, as the encourager, as the advisor, as the promoter, as an enricher. You know, people are waiting for the man. The man walks out during the day, he is waited to come back and bring a lot of wealth in the family. So Joshua is careful. And there's something that we need to mention here. Joshua is telling the Israelites, if you do not obey, if you don't worship the real God, you worship other gods, what is going to happen is that our God is a jealous God. He is a holy God. He does not participate in areas where you do not worship him alone. So people are worshiping other things. People worship beer, drinking, smoking, time out there, lecture,
Mipango ya kando.
and you know they are not to be emulated. You cannot emulate those kind of things. So we are saying this time the family is number one. Family is where we are taught. Family is where we are instructed. Family is where we come out and we move out to live with the world. So how do we go out from the family? Sometimes we are presenting people who are not cooked well, who are not nurtured. We allow them to go out. Man has a responsibility to make sure that the family is where you incubate. That's where you nurture. That's where you prepare your people to go out. People are very busy doing other things out there, but they come back to homes that experience a lot of decadence at home. So home is where we need to clarify and create all these things we are talking. Wealth at home, spiritual life at home, peace at home, love at home, job at home, not out there. And the family is the center.
Thank you very much. So home being the first school of mentorship.
Yeah.
And then you can usher us as we wind up
Yes.
into what benefit are we meant to gain from these resolves? And I think we have underlined 3 of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
One great gain, as I said, through mentorship, because one giving leadership to within a context of a relationship, because mentorship is a relationship, and the relationship is now based on family, the very first institution God ordained. I will say the family now becomes the commissioning center. Before even we send our sons and daughters to school, they will be commissioned right from home. And when they come back, still they will be reminded of the covenant the family has with God. So mentorship is about a gain, and the gain of resolving to walk with God's standards would give us more better days, and we will live a blessed life. There is a hope
There
in
is hope.
resolving the right way.
And there are blessings to
Yes.
that. So what other blessings or benefits do we get from these resolves, this kind of resolves?
You know, this one has to be deliberate. It's not forthcoming. And that's why Joshua, he is like making a declaration. And as a result of all this, there is not coherence. The coherence will be experienced. And even upon the exit of this man, there will be the memory of the living dead.
And there will be posterity as well.
Yeah. And you leave the society with a family that can be a point of reference. There are some families that are being left behind. As a result of the founder of the family or the owner, he never laid a solid foundation. The family become like an enigma in the society where people look at it and wonder, surely, what is this? So resolve to serve is a deliberate effort. You have to purpose and you have to invest. And that's why earlier the members of the panel were saying that you invest in the family. You walk with them. And upon your exit, they will follow
Wonderful.
of their dad.
Wonderful. There is hope actually, and this is the Rays of Hope program. There is hope as we come to an end, but I want to end with you, Dr.
Yeah.
Kibisho, in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
What makes you tick? Because you are enjoying the other part of your life after active,
Exactly.
So what makes you tick in 30 seconds?
It's hope.
Aha.
Because if
Yeah.
you read Psalm 42
Yeah.
and verse 5,
Yeah.
the psalmist there cries that he is thrown into the north of Israel. He is stopped from worshipping in Judah. But verse 5 says, why are you cast down, my soul?
My soul.
Why are you disquieted? Hope in God. So I want to encourage, people, men,
Yeah.
that there is hope,
There is
in
hope.
God,
Yeah.
provided
Yeah.
we obey, so that we don't lose
Yeah.
the benefit
Yeah.
of the promised land.
Yeah.
The promise is there,
Yeah.
but our challenge as men, we are not walking with God.
Yeah.
We are busy elsewhere.
Yeah.
We are defeated by our ladies many times. Can we push this man to obey God so that the land
Yeah.
will be occupied? So hope.
Yeah.
And I want to tell men,
Yeah.
there is hope.
There is hope, and that's a very good point to end at.
Yeah.
And the condition here is walking with God,
God.
making the right resolves,
Yeah.
choices. I must thank you very much, dear panelists, for that wonderful time we've had together. It's been a great conversation, and I know the conversation will continue.
Yes.
This was just the beginning to ignite the fire.
Exactly.
The conversation will continue in the week and even beyond. Thank you very much for taking time of your busy schedules to be with us today.
you.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us. It's been great having you. Let's continue with the conversation on our social media platforms. Those platforms are open. Let's continue the conversation, and may God bless you. Take care, make the right choices, make a resolve to serve. Thank
Amen.
you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.